In session in two cases. First case is cause number 328240. Second case is cause number 328620. Both cases are style of state of Texas versus Shedrick D. Matthews. Is that your full name? D stand for Dwayne? Okay. Mr. Matthews, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Matthews, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? How you doing, Mr. Matthews? I'm doing fine. Mr. Matthews, you're here with your attorney, Mr. Matuska. Mr. Matuska, how are you doing? Mr. Matuska, are you waiving a record?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Matthews, in cause number 328240, the case is style of state of Texas versus Shedrick D. Matthews. The information alleges that on or about October 20th of 2020, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of resisting arrest, search, transportation. Mr. Matthews, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Matthews, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
That's good.
Mr. Matthews, I have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor plea admonishment. It is also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Mr. Matthews, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, Mr. Matthews, are these your initials on the line next to the box, check nolo contendere, which means no contest?
Correct.
And on page 3 of the same document, Mr. Matthews, is this your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
On the next document, which is titled the trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, Mr. Matthews, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is that your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
It is, sir.
There are two boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
I do.
The second box states that you're waiving, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that? You have a discovery certification?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Mr. Matthews, I have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Mr. Matthews, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
It is.
Mr. Matthews, prior to signing and initialing these documents that I've just mentioned to you, did your attorney go over these documents with you? And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1. State, you like to offer State's 1?
Yes, Your Honor. The state would also offer State's Exhibit Number 2, the probable cause affidavit.
Any objections?
No objections, Your Honor.
No objections. State's Exhibit Number 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Matuska, you have advised and counseled Mr. Matthews. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, sir, Your Honor.
Mr. Matthews, your attorney, Mr. Matuska, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
I'm very much so.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Matthews, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of no contest and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
It's a 90 days jail, probated for 1 year, a $1,000 fine, 60 hours community service, and that's to run concurrently the other cause number 328620.
Do we have a affidavit indices? Mr. Matthews,
Yes, sir.
the state is offering that you serve 90 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any time in jail because you'll be placed on probation for 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $1,000 plus court costs. And the court cost in this case is $352. So the total fine and court cost is $1,352. You will also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month, and you will be required to reimburse the court-appointed attorney's fees to Jefferson County in the amount of $125. Your total monthly installments in this case is $210. Mr. Matthews, will you be able to pay the $210 each month?
No problem, not.
Okay, what's,
You don't have one.
were you appointed in this case?
Yes, sir.
He don't have one in either one of his files?
Either one of them.
Does he have a magistrate's,
Let me check.
No. No, it's just you. Okay. Big hopes.
what's the page? This is, where's the other page?
That's all of them.
It wasn't the magistrate, it should be on the back side. Okay. Okay. Yeah. This was, is that April? Yeah. Mr. Matthews, could you show this to Mr. Matthews?
Yes, sir.
And it's on both sides of the pages. I mean, yeah, Mr. Matthews,
Yes, sir.
this document that I have before me is titled Affidavit of Indigency. Mr. Matthews, first of all, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
Now, is this document was signed on April 17 of 2021. At that time, the magistrate who signed the order stated that you met the eligibility requirements for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney. In this document, it states that at that time that you were unemployed. Are you still unemployed? And are you receiving any type of governmental benefits such as Medicaid, SSI, SNAP, TANF, public housing? You don't live in Polk County. And at this time, you said you resided with your family? You still reside there? Okay, so you don't have no rent or utility bills, right? You have no children, so you have no child expenses. Now, your food expenses are paid for by your,
I take care of that sometime.
you take care of that sometime? Okay, that,
But let me explain this to you. Since November, I had to go to I had to get a few things together with my mental issues. So it required me, I couldn't go to work for quite a few months. So, I'm still going to spin the top, you know what I'm saying?
Okay,
So, that was the reason why I've been, unemployed since November.
okay, I understand. Now, do you have transportation? I mean, do you have a car? You own a car or anything?
I always be able to get them off.
So you get rides from people, or how do you get around?
Sometimes I drive my father's car, sometimes I drive my mother's car.
Okay, okay. Uh, do you have to pay them any expenses or anything? You not? You have a cell phone?
Yes, sir.
You have to pay the bill on that?
No,
Okay. You don't have any probation fees, do you? Do you have to?
right now.
No, I'm saying prior to today, before today.
Like that I've been on this
Yes.
year? No, sir.
Okay. Any medical expenses, anything?
Well, they take care of my medical expenses.
Okay, okay. Okay, so apparently you meet the eligibility requirements. Apparently the court is going to find that you are still currently indigent. Finding court calls, okay. That's 13. Oops. That's 108. Okay, now, Mr. Matthews, the finding court costs, which comes to a total of $1,352. Let me try that again. Okay, the court costs and fine of $1,352 is gonna be converted to community service hours. The community service hours is, that is converted to is 108 community service hours. Okay? The probation fee in this case is gonna be reduced to the minimum, which is $25 instead of $25 a month, instead of $60 a month. Okay? Now, that's gonna change the monthly installments that you will be required to pay per month. It's gonna go down. Okay? Now, you mentioned that, well, you mentioned that okay. You mentioned why you had to stop working since November. Okay, so Mr. Matthews, let me explain this to you again. You find, well, the state is offering that you serve 90 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, you not have to serve any time in jail because you'll be on probation for 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, the state offered that you paid $1,000 fine plus court costs of $352, which comes to a total of $1,352. That will be converted to 108 hours of community service. The probation fee of $60 will be reduced to a probation fee of $25 each month. You'll be required to pay a urinalysis fee of $15 a month and reimburse Jefferson County court-appointed attorney's fees of $125. Mr. Matthews, do you understand the adjustments that the court has made in this case?
Yes, sir. Thank
Now, you'll also be required to, you had 60 hours of your regular community service hours.
you.
You'll be required to do that, and then this case will run concurrent with cause number 328620, and you would have to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of probation. Mr. Matthews, do you understand the state's offers with the court adjustments?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that it's fair and just?
Yes, I do.
Okay, now, Mr. Matthews, in accordance with Article 42.15 of the Code of Criminal Procedure, your finding court costs, well, you're being determined to be indigent. Your finding court costs is being reduced or being converted to 108 hours of community service. Your probation fee is being reduced to $25 a month. You'll be required to 90 days jail, however, that will be probated for 1 year. And this case will run concurrent with cause number 328620. And you will also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of probation, which include the $60, 60 hours of community service. Okay,
So
and the
is that
state will
that's
follow
on
this
top
up.
of- That's on top of the 108 hours of community?
Yeah, the 108 hours is on top of the 60 hours.
Okay,
The
so,
108 hours it was what was converted from fine and court costs.
okay. So-
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to do both of them together, you adding those two together, the 60? and-
Yeah, it's gonna be added together.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the other, let's see. Your next case, Mr. Matthews, is cause number 328620. And in this case, Mr. Matthews, the information alleges that on or about October 20 to 2020, while you're in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 2A. Mr. Matthews, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes.
And to this charge, Mr. Matthews, how do you plead guilty? Not guilty, no contest.
Okay.
Now, you pleaded no contest freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Matthews, I also have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor plea admonishments. It is also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Mr. Matthews, okay, this is a Class B. Now, Mr. Matthews, this is a Class B misdemeanor, and the range of punishment for this Class B misdemeanor is confinement in jail for a term not to exceed 180 days, a fine not to exceed $2,000 of both such fine and confinement. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's not a Class A, it's a Class B. Okay, that's what it's charged as. Now, Mr. Matthews, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, Mr. Matthews, are these your initials on a line that is next to a box that's titled NOLA contingent, which means no contest? On page 3 of this same document, Mr. Matthews, is this your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document, Mr. Matthews, which is titled the trial court certification, defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And at the bottom of this document, there's a signature. Is that your signature? Above the line is titled defendant.
Yes, sir.
There are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that? I also have before me a document that is titled the Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document? Is this your signature above, is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? Now, Mr. Matthews, prior to signing and initialing these documents that I've just mentioned, did your attorney, Mr. Matuska, go over these documents with you? And did you read and understand everything in these documents? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Okay. State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, Your Honor, the state would also offer state's exhibit number 2, the probable cause.
Mr. Matuska, you have any objections?
No, sir, Your Honor.
Okay, no objections. State's Exhibits 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Matuska, you've advised that counsel, Mr. Matthews, in this case as well. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, sir, Your Honor.
Mr. Matthews, your attorney, Mr. Matuska, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
I am too.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Matthews, I'll accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of no contest and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargaining agreement in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
It's 90 days jail, probated over 1 year, $1,000 fine, 60 hours community service. And it's going to run concurrently with the other cause number 328240.
Okay. Mr. Matthews, the state is offering that you serve 90 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, this jail time, well, you would not be required to serve in jail, any time in jail on this case, because this jail time will be probated for 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $1,000 plus court costs of $352, which comes to a total of $1,352. The court previously found, well, let's see, let's go down here. Now, you will not be required to pay any probation fee in this case. However, you will be required to pay your analysis fee of $15 each month. Okay. You'll also be required to reimburse the county, the court-appointed attorney's fees of $175 per month. Now, the total monthly installments is $155. However, the court has found in the previous case that you were indigent. The court will also make that finding in this case. So therefore, the fine and court costs will be converted to 108 hours of community service. Your fine and court cost is the same amount, which is $1,352. And that will be added to the 60 hours of community service that you're also required to do, perform 60 hours of community service, as well as perform the other standard terms and conditions of probation. In this case, will run concurrent with cause number 328240. Do you, Mr. Matthews, do you understand the state's offer?
No.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And let's see, this article 4215 CCP. The court is making these findings of indigency pursuant to Article 42.15 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. Okay, now, Mr. Matthews, let me repeat. State is offering that you serve 90 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to pay, you will not have to spend any time in the Jefferson County Jail on this case because you'll be on probation for 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, state is offering a fine of $1,000, a fine of $1,000 plus court costs of $352, which comes to a total of $1,352. That fine and court costs will be converted to 108 hours of community service, and that's pursuant to Article 42.15 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure because the court is finding that you are indigent, and you'll be required to pay a $15 fee each month for your analysis fee. Reimbursed to Jefferson County, the court-appointed attorney's fees is $175. Now, the amounts in the judgment is going to be adjusted by the probation office because they have to convert, they have to take your fine and court costs out and convert it to community service. All right. Now, and that community service will be in addition to the 60 hours of community service that you are required to perform. And in this case, we'll run concurrent with clause number 328240, and you will also have to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of probation. Mr. Matthews, do you understand the state's offer? Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just? You have to speak up.
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
I do too.
Okay, Mr. Matthews, I'll follow plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state with the adjustments that the court has also made pursuant to Article 42.15 of the Code of Criminal Procedures. Okay, Mr. Matthews, this will conclude your case. Mr. Matthews, I'm gonna stand on the X in front of our court clerk. I'm gonna follow her directions. And once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day.
You too.
All right,
Thank you.
all right, Mr.
Mr. Matthews, can I get your right thumbprint?
Mr. Matuska, I think this will conclude your case.
Yes, sir. Mr. Richard.
Right. And we have,
There's a signature there. You can sign something, you won't see it, but I will. Just you can sign it. You can sign it.
Right.
Yeah. Once you leave here, Mr. Matthews, you are to report to probation. But once you get there, they want you to call before you come in, so they can let you know what time your appointment is, but you do need to go directly there after you leave here, okay?
That's it?
Mhm.
That's it.
Lester Lewis, all right, you come forward.
I'll give you a call. Yes, sir.
Oh, that door is locked, sir. You gotta go through the other door. Your full name is Lester Lewis, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Lewis, I see here that you're representing yourself. You have a felony case, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that felony case is set for October 4th of 2021. Okay. Now, generally, what we can do, we can set this case on the same date with your felony case, if you prefer that. Now, you know, when we do that, that means that you have to come here and check in with us, then go down there. And then once you finish there, you come back here and let us know. Okay? So this case is going to be reset for, on the same date of your felony case, October 4th of 2021. You're gonna have a seat in that chair that have that, right in the front, just sit there and the court coordinator is gonna give you a reset.
Hey, we need a reset.
Let's see, we gonna do our bond forfeiture like we have one. We're on the record in 4 cases. First case is cause number 322-288. Second case is cause number 327-080. Third case is cause number 328-354. And the fourth case is cause number 329-802. All 4 cases are styled the state of Texas versus Shannon J. Richard or Richard. Shannon Richard or Richard was scheduled to be in court this morning at 9 a.m. for the court's announcement docket. At about 9 a.m., Shannon Richard's name was called by the court's bailiff at the courthouse door, and Shannon Richard did not answer. The court has been in session since 9 a.m. and Shannon Richards have not appeared in court. Shannon Richards' attorney, Mr. Ryan Matuska, is in court. And Mr. Matuska, have you heard from Shannon Richard?
I have not seen Ms. Richards at all of that.
Okay. Mr. Well, the time now is 11:26 a.m. on today's date. Mr. Bailiff, would you please call the name of Shannon Richard or Shannon Richard? The bailiff has just called the name of Shannon Richard or Shannon Richard at the courthouse door. Shannon Richard or Shannon Richard did not answer. A reasonable time has passed to give Shannon Richard or Richard an opportunity to appear in court for the announcement docket, and Shannon Richard or Shannon Richard did not appear in court. State, do you have a motion?
Yes, Your Honor, statement moved for KPS and bond forfeiture.
That will be granted. In cause number 322-288, cause number 327-080, cause number 328-354, and cause number 329-802. Warrant will be issued for the arrest of Shannon Richard, and bond will be forfeited in each one of those cases. And this will conclude the calling of the court's announcement docket in County Court at Law Number 2, Jefferson County, Texas, which was scheduled for 9 a.m. On today's date of August 4th of 2021. Judge Terrence L. Holmes presiding.